Why is the world calling good evil and evil good? Why are conservatives now turning on Israel almost more than liberals? Why are Jews living in the hills of Judea being sanctioned by a foreign power? Why did it only take a few days for the world to begin doubting the massacres and violence of October 7th, and just this week, blood libels and accusations are flying that Israel killed their own innocent civilians on that fateful day? You know, everyone would agree that the only Jewish nation in the world has never experienced an event like October 7th before. While the horrors of that tragic day were similar in scope to the Holocaust, the intensity and barbarism was much worse. In one day, a terrorist group more evil than ISIS attempted to wipe the Jewish nation off the face of the map. And yet since then, the world continues to doubt. Many claim that the events of that day were made up. Conservatives and liberals alike have accused Israel of being worse than their enemies in their fight for self-defense and survival. Let's be clear, the anti-Israel, anti-Jewish, anti-Semitic, anti-God narrative that is currently sweeping the globe is not simply pro-Israel versus pro-Palestinian. This is a fight for the survival of democratic, free, moral values. I'm Luke Hilton, and this is the Israel Guys. Welcome to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of Jew hatred and anti-Israel propaganda, you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. Guys, go ahead and subscribe or follow, whether you're listening or watching. Hit that notification bell. Leave us a comment if you're a new viewer. Glad to have you with us. As Douglas Murray said this week in an interview with Ben Shapiro, the Western world would not survive the extermination of the Jewish people. If you live in a Western democratic nation, ask yourself this. When have you seen a pro-Palestinian protest that was flying the flag of the nation where they were protesting alongside the Palestinian flag? When have you heard them sing the national anthem of the Palestinian people alongside the national anthem of, let's say, the United States or Great Britain, for instance? What have you seen and heard instead? Protests that are purported to be siding with the Palestinians are actually against the Western nation they live in. Down with America, down with the United Kingdom, free, free Palestine. That's what they're chanting. You see, when conservatives like Candace Owens smear Israel, accuse them of genocide, and continually advocate for America to stop any and all aid to the Jewish nation, they claim they're simply being America first. What they don't realize is that by attempting to sever America's ties with the only democratic country in the Middle East, they are also paving the road for radical, violent extremists to destroy the West. You know, there's a reason Iran calls Israel the little Satan and America the big Satan. There's a reason Hamas, Hezbollah, ISIS, Iran, and so many other terrorist groups hate America just as much as they hate Israel. Israel and the Jewish people have always been faced with those who want to annihilate them. Animosity and anti-Semitism is nothing new for them. Even since their refounding as a nation in 1948, they've faced countless wars and aggression from their neighbors all around them. After working in Israel for the past 16 years, however, and seeing firsthand several conflicts, rise in terrorist attacks, I've even personally witnessed a few violent events of my own in Israel, I have to say what we have seen since October 7th is very, very different. Israel's used to negative media coverage. They're used to animosity from other countries' governments. They're used to threats, anti-Israel resolutions being passed in the United Nations. The list goes on and on. What's very different right now, however, is the sheer level of doubt, false accusations, and animosity from all sides of the political aisle. They claim that October 7th was not actually that bad, that women were not raped, babies were not beheaded, or that Israel was aware of the attack ahead of time and they just let it happen. Let's just ignore the eyewitness testimonies, such as two Israelis I know who were part of the burial society after that fateful day. One of them had to hold decapitated remains in his hands. The other had to figure out how to bury the dead when all she received were bags of charred pieces. The latest claim is that Israel massacred their own people on October 7th, citing the Hannibal Directive. That's a claim that's making its rounds just this week. Even though grossly false and blood libelous in nature, the world is quick to jump on this lie. This is in the same week that Candace Owens has decided to question even whether certain aspects of the horrific torture and murder that happened during the Holocaust are actually true. Why is the world, both left and right, turned against the Jewish people? Many, such as Candace Owens, simply seem angry that the Jewish people are getting so much attention. Believe me, all of my Jewish friends would be more than happy to receive less attention and simply be held to the same standards as the rest of the world. If the world would simply pay as much attention to them as they do the rest of the nations around the world and world events, it would make Israel very happy. We'll be right back with the rest of today's episode, but first I want to tell you about one way that you can take action for Israel right now. Israel's been at war for over 9 months now, which has taken a big toll on their economy. Businesses are struggling, prices are rising. Thankfully, there's a way for somebody like you, anywhere you are in the world, to step in and provide strength where it's critically needed. With Blessed by Israel, you have the opportunity to step up and invest in small businesses and families in Israel by purchasing their wonderful products. When you shop at blessedbyisrael.com, that's blessedbyisrael.com, you're getting more than amazing olive oil, tea, honey, cosmetics, and so many other great products. You're sending vital reinforcements to keep Israel strong. So head over to blessedbyisrael.com, that's blessedbyisrael.com. Enjoy the wonderful products they have to offer and make your crucial investment in the families and small businesses of Israel today. Use code INVEST for $5 off your first order. Just go to blessedbyisrael.com or click that link down in the description below today. Now, back to the episode. To top it all off, the United States decided to sanction more so-called settlers in the West Bank this week. They claim that these settlers are stealing Palestinian land and committing acts of violence against their Arab neighbors. Knowing and working with so many Jews who live in Judea and Samaria, I can tell you that the majority of these accusations are simply not true. However, the real question is, why would the world's largest and most powerful nation decide to start a naughty list of individuals living in a specific region of a nation who is their most trusted ally in the Middle East? What if these so-called settlers actually did do something wrong? Israel is a first world democratic nation with first world rule of law. Why meddle in something that does not concern you, that screams of Jew hatred and is false anyways? Let me tell you something. After suffering unimaginable persecution for 2,000 years, culminating in near annihilation during the Holocaust, the Jewish people found a home in the same land that God promised to them 4,000 years ago. After fighting war after war, all of them in self-defense, the Jewish nation of Israel has grown, prospered, and is thriving today. After tens of thousands of rockets shot at them in an attempt to take as many lives as possible, all after Israel gave up the Gaza Strip in 2005 in an attempt to create peace with their neighbors, Israel then turned around and survived the worst terrorist attack in their history on October 7th, 2023. Israel is stronger and more unified than ever. Israel will win this war against Hamas, Hezbollah, and any other nation or entity that attempts to annihilate them. Let me be clear, however. Just as Israel's enemies are also enemies of the Western world, so also is anti-Semitism and Jew hatred a menace to Western values. Those who want to tear down the Jewish nation, spread lies and propaganda, hold them to a double standard, and cast doubt on everything they will do, also eventually are going to crack down on any individual, organization, or country who chooses to stand with Israel or the Jewish people. At some point, you'll have to make a decision on whether you stand with God, the Bible, and the promise that God made to the land and people of Israel, the Jewish people. That might mean making your voice heard through social media. It may mean standing up for what's right in your workplace, church, or community. It may mean financially supporting causes you believe in. It may mean political activism, or even running for political office. It may mean coming to Israel to volunteer. It might mean praying for the peace of Jerusalem every single day. The world is growing crazier by the day. We cannot simply rely on the administration whose government we currently live under, the pastor of our church, or those we're surrounded with to stand on the side of God and morality. We have to make that decision ourselves. The nation of Israel and the Jewish people all over the world live, and they're going to continue to live and thrive. Our choice is whether or not we will stand with them. Guys, don't forget to support the work of Blessed by Israel by purchasing beautiful products from small businesses in Judea and Samaria. Just click that link down in the description below. Thanks for being with us. As always, let me know what you think in the comments section below. Stop listening to the lies and propaganda and connect with the truth of what's happening in Israel. We'll be back very soon here at the Israel Guys. I believe that our faith is in trouble. The world is attacking us from every side, and internally, many are giving in to the cultural attacks from the world or simply watering down their faith so that they're more accepted. That's why we wrote and published a book called Facing Jerusalem: God's Plan for Global Redemption. Here are a few of the critical issues that this book addresses. Western culture is attacking Christianity. Facing Jerusalem calls for a return to our faith that originated in the Holy Land of Israel. Biblical principles are being traded for prosperity doctrine. This book challenges Christians to follow the call of Jesus to rise up with bold faith in our generation. Young people are leaving the faith of their childhood. Facing Jerusalem challenges believers to make biblical principles guiding factors in our life today. Award-winning singer-songwriter Michael Card had this to say after reviewing Facing Jerusalem. He said, quote, "I worked through the manuscript and want you to know that you've done a great job taking your readers to the next level of understanding the foundation and ongoing debt we have to Israel and Judaism." After reading the book, Janet wrote this review online, quote, "If I did not already agree with the premise of the authors, I surely would be convinced of these truths after reading their book. They back up their points with many biblical quotes. I would like to share this book with all my Christian friends." You can purchase Facing Jerusalem at facingjerusalemthebook.com or click the link down in the description below. Just enter the promo code Jerusalem for 10% off. It's time to experience revival in our biblical faith, and we believe that a key ingredient to that is spiritually and physically facing Jerusalem. Go to facingjerusalemthebook.com or click the link in the description below to order a copy today. You can also get it on Amazon.